What's going on, Reject Nation? Greg Alba here. Jumanji 2, or Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, sequel, more like soft reboot, I bet. Trailer's finally here. Before I watch this, just want to give you guys a heads up. I know the Death Note trailer dropped. The last time I watched a Death Note trailer without Anita Stargazer, didn't go down too well in my personal life. Making it sound more dramatic than it actually was. She's in recovery mode over something right now, so when she's feeling better, I'm going to have her on the channel so we can watch it together because she's a huge Death Note fan. And also the Cult of Chucky trailer is supposedly coming out or is out already. I want to watch that with John. He's coming by much later this afternoon, so that'll be up either tonight or tomorrow morning. Keep a lookout for that. But in the meantime, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Well, this is a fun group. Welcome to detention. Spencer, Bethany, Fridge, Martha. You're all here for a reason.
Hey, person walking.
You should be thinking about who you are and who you want to be. You'll have plenty of time to figure that out while you're cleaning out the basement.
Are you gonna help or are you too pretty?
I'm too pretty.
Yo, what's this?
A game for those who seek to find a way to leave their world behind.
Jumanji.
Pick a character and you're that person.
What?
Which one real quick?
I don't think it matters that much.
Oops, Finbar. Sounds like a badass.
I'll be the curvy genius.
Dr. Smolder Bravestar.
Guess I'm Ruby Roundhouse.
Whoa. This is different. Oh. Okay. There's his rock look.
Where's the rest of me?
Oh my god. Fridge?
Yeah, I'm Fridge. Who are you?
Me, Spencer.
Who is she?
Martha?
Why am I wearing half a shirt and short shorts in the jungle?
I think we got sucked into Jumanji and we become the avatars we chose.
So that means
Bethany?
Way different.
don't look at it.
I'm an overweight middle-aged man. I don't have my Claritin, and all I see around here is pollen.
Well, I don't have a top 2 feet of my body.
Damn, there's a man right there. Don't cry, don't cry. Don't cry, it's gonna be okay. This is a video game, which means we all have special skills.
Whoa.
That was so intense. I can't even with this place.
Watch your step in here.
All right. She's hot.
Maybe we're all in a coma.
What?
That old game machine must have electrocuted us. Now we're... Oh my God! You better get in there and save her.
I'm not gonna get in there. You get in there.
Yeah, I got a backpack on. You don't get in water with a backpack. Everybody knows that.
I just can't decide whether or not I like it or I really don't like it. I just can't tell. I really can't tell. I mean, some positives. I like the cast that's assembled here. I like that Dwayne Johnson's playing a guy who's actually really nerdy on the inside, but he's, this high school dude takes on the form of Dwayne Johnson, and he's like, oh my god, I'm super tough. I'm like the toughest guy in the group. I like that approach because I like nerdy Dwayne Johnson on the inside, but tough on the outside. I can see why they got him and Kevin Hart together again for this after watching Central Intelligence, because in Central Intelligence, Dwayne Johnson's character was really a nerd on the inside, and then he's like this tough badass on the outside. It's kind of a similar approach that I'm seeing here with him, and you got Kevin Hart in here who's also kind of nerdy, so you put both of them together again, just makes a lot of sense. And I think Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart have wonderful chemistry together. They're both really good comedic actors, and just so seeing them together again is really fun. And I like Jack Black too, and I think like having those three guys together is really cool. And her name, Karen Gillan? I don't know. The girl plays Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, she's smoking hot. She is really hot. And she looks badass in the film. I didn't really care for her acting style in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, she looks like she's doing a good job here. So the cast looks really good. I remember when this movie was first announced that people were very upset because it came as an announcement that came like pretty soon after the death of Robin Williams. So people were very, you know, like, I don't know about this. And this is not supposed, it was announced as a reboot, but then, you know, people were coming out. I think Dwayne Johnson came out saying that it was actually a sequel. I mean, but let's be real, it's one of those soft reboot sequels. It's much more of a reboot than it is a direct sequel. And I remember the movie in the 1995 film, it took place in the 90s, and the jungle was coming to life in whatever town in America they were in. I don't remember what city it was again. It's been like many, many years since I saw the original, so I don't remember what city it was. But I remember it's like the jungle was coming to life and taking over this modern day city. So I like the approach of taking it to the jungle, because I remember when I was a kid, there was this morning cartoon of Jumanji that I would watch that took place directly in the jungle. So I'm okay with it taking that approach of putting it immediately into the jungle. I think you can do some different things with it. I'm not exactly sure how to feel about them just going with the video game route. I didn't know about that. I loved the first Jumanji with the board game and the board game coming to life. I thought that was really cool. This is a totally different type of Jumanji approach than the original Jumanji movie was. I could see how this is the modern day take of the Jumanji style. You know, in the 90s, if they picked up that video game console, it wouldn't have been, you know, such an old video game. And the idea with Jumanji was, oh, this is a super old board game. And here they're picking up an old video game console, so it's more relatable for the youth today. Because more of the youth probably plays video game systems than they do actually play board games. And of course, you know, if you're gonna put The Rock in it, you're probably going to get an action comedy, so I shouldn't be too surprised by it. However, I am a bit surprised by how much of an action movie this looks like. I don't want them to do like exactly what the first Jumanji movie was. I am a little bit surprised by the fact that it is like, it looks like a full-blown action comedy, whereas the first one had this very adventure fantasy vibe to it, and it was also a comedy at the same time, and I really like those elements there. Here, I thought they would hone in on that more, especially if they're taking place directly in the jungle of the world of Jumanji. But it seems just like straight up action comedy territory. It seems to not really have a lot of those fantasy elements. Granted, it looks shot pretty damn well though. I love the visual imagery. I just love anything that takes place in the jungle. I think it always looks really beautiful when you do that. And to me, I don't have as much of a nostalgia love for Jumanji. Oh, I don't know about that. That movie was a really big childhood movie for me. I don't have a hate towards it. A lot of the times when you do these movies that have a lot of nostalgia to it, it immediately gets a lot of hate, especially when we make it definitely like tonally different, gets a lot of hate. I could see this trailer alone getting a lot of hate because it feels and is totally different kind of style than the first one. And I could get on board with it. It doesn't look like it would be any better than the first one. It doesn't look that special. It looks like it could be a fun holiday film, because from my understanding, this is going to be a December release this year. So it looks like it could be a really fun holiday film, but there's something about it that seems like it's missing. It looks okay. It doesn't look great. I could be very much surprised by it, because I was surprised by Central Intelligence when I saw Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart together. I thought they were so funny together, and I'm hoping those elements are just as present here. And it's funny because it has this really like modern day amped up Indiana Jones aesthetic look. And the beginning of the trailer, one of the dudes had like an Uncharted poster in there. So I could see that here too, because Uncharted is like a much more action filled type of game of the Indiana Jones style. So I'm seeing the inspirations it's drawing from. I'm hoping this film is good. Last thing I want this film to be is bad. I'm hoping it's good. Right now, I'm still a little bit on the skeptical side. Surprisingly, I wasn't that skeptical about it when it was announced, but now seeing the trailer, I'm a tad bit skeptical. I'd still give it a chance because, like I said, the cast is the main thing that's hooking me right now. And this director's done a couple of comedies that I really did enjoy. I thought Sex Tape, for the most part, was pretty funny. I thought Bad Teacher was pretty funny. He's worked a lot in like super raunchy comedies. I doubt this film will be a super raunchy comedy because it's supposed to be for families as well. But then again, you know, nowadays, a lot of times comedies that are meant for families can sometimes surprise me by their kind of vulgar jokes they tend to have. I mean, you got Jack Black and Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson in here. I'd be very surprised if there's not any bit of vulgar comedy. And I'm intrigued to see who Nick Jonas is playing. And one thing that I get curious about with roles like this too is what the acting style approach was for this. You know, I think of a movie like Freaky Friday, where Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, they actually did each other's lines on camera, so that way when they had to switch bodies, they would see how the other person would do it, so that way they could channel that. I know that's not, I know for sure that's not what they did here. I'm wondering how they cast the high school kids in this movie, the ones who would like turn into the main cast, and how the acting approach style was to it. Did they just audition them and go, yeah, that kind of resembles what Dwayne Johnson was doing on set. They kind of resemble what Kevin Hart was like on set. I'm wondering how they did the casting approach or how they did the acting approach there. That's something I'm actually kind of interested in. I know that's more of the behind the scenes kind of take on it. I feel like for this film to work, you would actually have to like the high school cast in the beginning. Right now, it's called Welcome to the Jungle. They're having the Guns N' Roses theme song going over it. This feels very action-packed heavy, and it looks like it could be a lot of fun. The cast looks like they're having one hell of a great time. I could see the approach of taking it from board game into video game territory actually working. So a lot of things that I'm skeptical about, I actually see how it could also work. At the end of the day, it's Jumanji. It's not like The Godfather they're doing here, so it's all right. Whatever. All right, well, what do you guys think of it? Are you guys excited for this movie? I'm actually genuinely curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this movie. I'd like to see what the comments say. How much nostalgia hate this film is getting. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. You can go check out our exclusive perks and rewards over at Patreon. And we got a special vlog coming up tomorrow that was for one of our patrons. You'll see what I'm talking about when it's there. It's the reason why I'm a little bit tired. Had to drive like an hour away. Go check it out.